Seriously? We're over here working. Sage. He has no respect for the computer.
He's such a stinker.
This is our last weekend in this garden, and as we are preparing to leave this classroom, we find ourselves reflecting on all the lessons that we've learned and all of the lessons that we learned to give us the thirst that we have to go and grow more.
What's going on, YouTube Gardener? It's your boy Sydney and
Tori.
from the Naked Gardener channel. In this video, we're going to show you a recap of what we've learned from this classroom, and hopefully we can take it over to our next classroom on our homestead.
We never expected to be where we are today.
We first started off as just gardening for just our cooking herbs, and then it became a passion when after Mom Dukes died, as we became to get more intense into gardening and stuff, and then trying to basically get in close encounters with moms with the whole butterflies.
We always felt like when we saw a butterfly, she was there, and it just it inspired us to grow things that attracted butterflies to be closer to her. And so, part of the tea garden that I want at our new property has been inspired with that in mind, to attract the butterflies. And when we went out to Jess's and we saw the setup with how she had her zinnias, and we saw the butterflies all over the place, we just fell in love, and we knew, okay, it's time to get serious. It's time to get our place.
Yeah, and it's amazing how this all started out. How each year it just continued to grow and grow and grow. The passion of gardening and seeing what all that we can produce. And now we're going to have the chance of possibly even having some livestock and growing our own food.
So just by chance, right before we went to Jess's to see her layout, we had just left a conference that taught me a lot more about bees, because I always wanted to have my own bees. And I saw Maya's set up for his bees, and there's just this growing fire in me to have my own bees, and I have so many plans for that.
So, like I said, we started off very basic, and then the following year we started off with 3 small raised beds. Then we went to a 4th raised bed, and then towards by the end of that year we went to a 5th raised bed. And then the following year I felt that we can do a lot better, and especially with not just our film editing but also our gardening, because we first started off recording our YouTube channel basically holding our camera upright, not knowing that we had to hold our camera, our phones that we were using, landscape mode. So I basically decided to do almost like a keystone or keyhole gardening aspect, and so I thought that up, and then the following year, about the early springtime, we started to revamp our garden area.
And it was really nice. I enjoyed assisting him in building that. It hit at a really stinky time because his arm, he had just had it injured. So I did have to do a lot of the work. I think he enjoyed watching me shovel all of the dirt into the beds. Yeah, we did put Junior to work.
So during this whole revamping of these raised beds, I wanted to do an experiment to see which beds were the best ones. So we did a hugelkultur bed, we did a regular raised bed, and then we did a compost bed and the worm tower bed.
And so I really got excited about just experiments. That's something we vibe about, is that we love experimenting. But I got really excited about the worm tower bed because I really liked the idea that I could take stuff straight from the kitchen scraps, just put it right down in there, And we did do a test of all of our soil
Hmm.
at the after a year or a season. Was it a season?
About after the full growing season of there, I decided to take a do a pH balance test of the soil, see which one was at the right spot, and then after that, we also did a NPK test on all of the beds, and it wound up being that the worm tower bed was had the right pH balance and the right NPK of all the other beds.
And I really think that that's when your love of worms and worm farm stuff really started with that.
Yeah, and it showed true value of that because almost all the plants in that bed thrive very well. So,
Yeah, that was a win.
so with the revamping of the garden beds came with we still kept our container gardens as well. And during the summer months here in North Texas, watering became very labor intensive. So I've had this irrigation system that I got from the big box store for quite a while. Now, I think about a year worth
Yeah,
of
you were
time.
scared to set it up.
Yeah, I was just scared that some leak might pop up while we're gone away or something
But
like
then you
that.
kicked yourself for not doing it sooner.
Yeah, because after that one summer month when it was up in the triple digits, I was like, oh heck no, I can't do this
But you
anymore.
set it up and it was like so easy.
Yeah, I was able to do our beds probably with under 30 minutes, if that.
And you really customized it for our
Yeah,
setup.
and so that's a good thing that I'm definitely going to be transferring over into our next homestead.
Aside from the worm tower experiment that we did, one of the other experiments that we did that I was most excited about because I really feel like we learned a lot was the soil experiment, the soil and container experiment. We did a few videos tracking the progress of that. But we really learned a lot about soil quality, and especially here in Texas with the extreme heat, there's certain containers that just performed better.
Yeah, and what I want to do is also find out of with those containers, a lot of these companies are adding a lot of filler, and which is the reason why we make our own. And we wanted to test our own potting soil mix with the big box store brand to see which one thrived better. And it seemed like ours, for me, I thought
Ours
ours,
did the best.
yes,
Like all ours, everything fruited sooner. Now it was in the vinyl bags in the heat that I feel like our mix did the best. But our mix overall, like in the beginning, we were questioning it. Like we were not
it started
certain.
off slow.
Yeah, but it was the long. It was a long burner.
The thing I love about our own potting mix was that it was the most pest resistant out of all of those big box store brands. So that was a good plus and in my favor.
Yeah. One of the things I also learned this last year, because I really love calendula and I tried to grow it in different parts of the year, I learned that here in Texas in our zone that it liked the chillier weather. And this past year was the most successful year for us with the calendula. We had the playtime mix, we had the
Snow
Snow
Princess.
Princess, and then the Strawberry Blonde, which is my favorite, by the way. It's beautiful. But I found myself picking the flowers and following the method of Rosemary Gladstar because I'm really getting into herbal stuff and making the salves and making creams and learning how beneficial it is. So that's something for me, like that for me, it lit a fire for me.
Next is the herbs. The herbs is basically something that started our whole experience with gardening. Now, last year I was supposed to expand on Mrs. Naked Gardener's herb garden. However, my job pulled me away and I wasn't able to be here more often than I needed to be. And so I wasn't able to get her that at the right time. However, this is a perfect time to, in our next homestead, to give her what she needs.
I really love the little setup that you did make for me on the outside of our porch because it was nice to just go out and, grab some rosemary or some parsley, or depending on the time of year, some basil, because some of those things don't grow all together. And so I did have fun kind of experimenting, growing different herbs. And you did a video about propagating, which is going to be a game changer for us. I'll put a link above for that propagation, because that's a valuable thing. Like, you know, if you have a friend that grows herbs, there's no reason for you to have to buy seeds. For those of you that have gone through a similar journey as we have, and starting off small and growing, comment down below and let us know some of the biggest lessons that you learned in your process. Now, over the past 2.5 years, we're almost coming up on 3 years, I think in November, of having our YouTube channel, I have been camera girl, and I've had so much fun being behind the camera, capturing this guy. And we have a funny outtakes, but I reserved two funny little raps that he did, and so you have to watch this and laugh with me. Sound check.
Sound check, 1, 2. We gonna have some fun with some experiments because we like to know what's going on in the mint and all in the garden, because we like to see what's a pardon from the warden. That's you, and we're gonna tell it how it do and be like all in the mix. We got the soil mix, so that way you didn't know. That way, how we're gonna show you what we're going to grow. And then we're going to go and let it flow on the video that we're going to post today. Now, what you say? Word. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video. If so, make sure to give us a thumbs up. It really helps our channel out. Now, we do some other videos, some vlogs. We'll put some videos above here for you to follow along. Until the next video, let's grow together.